Hey everyone, ready to carve some fresh powder on the career slopes.
I know I am.
Today we're talking all about landing that dream job as a snowboard instructor.
Sounds awesome.
Think epic views, sharing your love for snowboarding.
And getting paid for it.
Exactly. To guide us down this run, we're checking out RoleCatcher's career and interview guides for snowboard instructors.
These things are packed with insider tips. It's like having a pro coach in your pocket.
Right. So the career guide lays out what being an instructor is all about. We're talking flexible schedules, working in amazing mountain environments.
And who wouldn't want to travel to different resorts?
But let's drop in on the interview guide and shred those practice questions. Ready to get started?
Let's do it.
First up, can you tell us about your experience teaching snowboarding?
Now, don't sweat it if you haven't got years of formal experience under your belt.
I was going to say.
You've probably got more to offer than you think.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. Have you ever coached a sports team?
Good point.
Mentored a colleague? Or even just helped a friend learn a new skill?
I like where you're going with this.
It's all about showing those moments where you've helped someone else learn and grow.
Makes sense. So even if you've never officially been a snowboard instructor.
You've probably still got relevant experience.
So let's say you've helped friends master carving turns, or taught your little cousin how to link their first turns.
Boom! That's teaching experience.
True. So how do you frame that for an interviewer?
You could say something like, while I haven't worked as a certified instructor, I've always enjoyed sharing my passion for snowboarding by helping friends and family develop their skills. Seeing them progress is incredibly rewarding.
I love that. It shows your natural teaching instinct and your love for the sport.
Exactly.
But what if the interviewer digs deeper and asks, okay, but have you ever taught in a more structured setting?
Awesome question. That's where you can highlight other experiences. Ever led a group hike?
Ooh, yeah.
Taught a workshop? Or even volunteered at a summer camp?
I've done that too.
See, all those things demonstrate your ability to work with people in a structured environment.
So you could say.
I haven't had the opportunity to teach in a professional snowboarding setting, but I have experience leading groups and creating positive learning experiences in other contexts. I'm eager to apply those skills to snowboarding instruction.
That's so smart. And I bet RoleCatcher's AI could help fine-tune that answer even further.
Absolutely. It can analyze the specific job description and help you pinpoint the skills that are most important to that particular employer.
So it's like having a secret weapon for nailing those responses.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on to question number 2. How do you ensure the safety of your students while teaching snowboarding? Safety is key on the slopes, right?
Huge. The interviewer wants to see you have a strong safety mindset, that you're proactive about mitigating risks.
I see, so.
So you really want to showcase your knowledge of safety procedures, equipment checks, and your awareness of slope conditions.
Okay, so I could say something like, before every lesson, I make it a priority to thoroughly check each student's equipment, ensuring their bindings are secure, boots fit correctly, and helmets are properly fastened.
Perfect. And don't forget to mention how you choose appropriate terrain based on your student's skill level.
Right, like I always assess the slope conditions and select runs that match the group's abilities, making sure to gradually progress to more challenging terrain as their skills develop.
You got it.
Now, what about those unpredictable moments on the mountain? Say a student wipes out or gets separated from the group.
Oh, for sure. That's probably on the interviewer's mind too. And it's your chance to show how you handle unexpected situations.
How would I answer that?
You could say, if a student falls, my first priority is to assess their condition and provide any necessary first aid. I always carry a basic first aid kit, and I'm trained in CPR.
Good point. And I guess clear communication is key in those moments too.
Absolutely. You could add something like, I would maintain clear communication with the student, keeping them calm and reassured while I assess the situation. I would also alert other instructors or ski patrol if needed.
Perfect. You've shown a proactive safety approach and your ability to stay calm under pressure.
Yeah.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can give feedback on whether you've covered all aspects of safety, making sure you come across as responsible and reliable.
It's like having a personal safety expert reviewing your answers.
Okay, now let's carve into a question that's at the heart of teaching. How do you adapt your teaching style to accommodate different types of learners?
Love this one. It's all about recognizing that every student's unique.
Exactly. You can't teach everyone the same way.
Right. So you want to show you understand different learning styles, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and how you adjust your instruction to fit each one.
Like if I have a visual learner?
You might use more demonstrations and hand gestures to illustrate a technique.
Even draw diagrams in the snow to help them visualize body positioning.
Exactly. And for an auditory learner,
More detailed verbal instructions, breaking the movements down step by step.
and for those kinesthetic learners, the ones who learn best by doing.
It's all about hands-on practice and repetition.
Got it. You could say something like, I tailor my lessons to each student's learning style. For visual learners, I incorporate lots of demonstrations and visual aids. For auditory learners, I provide clear, concise verbal instructions. And for kinesthetic learners, I create opportunities for them to practice and feel the movements.
That covers all the bases. But what if a follow-up question throws you off? Like, what if you have a group of students with totally different skill levels? How do you manage that?
Oh, that's a good one. And it's a pretty common scenario for instructors. The key is to structure the lesson so that everyone feels challenged and engaged, no matter where they're starting.
So how would you handle that?
I'd start by dividing the group based on skill level, then I'd tailor the drills and exercises to each group's abilities.
So while the beginners are practicing balance and gliding,
The more advanced students might be working on carving turns or even small jumps.
cool. And you'd be constantly checking in and adjusting to make sure everyone's progressing at their own pace.
For sure. I'd also encourage the more experienced students to help the beginners, builds camaraderie and a supportive learning environment.
Awesome. You've shown a structured approach, your ability to manage different skill levels, and even a focus on positive group dynamics.
Thanks.
And once again, RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice this kind of multi-layered response.
Totally.
All right, let's tackle another one. How do you handle difficult or disruptive students? Every instructor deals with that at some point.
You bet. And interviewers want to see that you can stay calm and positive while still ensuring everyone's safety and enjoyment.
What's the best way to go about it?
Honestly, prevention is key. Set clear expectations from the get-go.
So at the beginning of the lesson,
You review safety rules and establish a code of conduct.
makes sense. Laying the groundwork for good behavior.
Right. But if a student still acts up, you address the behavior directly, but calmly.
Gotcha. Like, hey, student's name, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but let's make sure everyone has a chance to listen and learn. Can you hold your question until we finish this demonstration?
Perfect example. You're addressing the behavior without getting confrontational.
But what if it's more serious? Like a student's being reckless and putting others at risk.
Then you got to be more assertive. Safety first. You could say, I understand you're excited to try new things, but your actions are putting yourself and others at risk. I need you to follow the safety guidelines we discussed. If you continue to disregard the rules, I will have to end the lesson for everyone's safety.
Wow, that's firm but fair.
Yep. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can help you fine-tune your tone and language for these tricky situations.
Awesome. All right, let's finish up with a question that often pops up. Have you ever had to deal with a student who was endangering others on the slopes? What did you do?
The classic behavioral interview question. It's designed to test how you handle high-pressure situations.
So instead of a general answer,
You need a specific anecdote ready. Think of a time when you had to step in to prevent a dangerous situation. Doesn't have to be on the slopes, even.
so detail the actions you took and the positive outcome.
Use the STAR method situation, task, action, result that really helps.
Even if you haven't dealt with that exact scenario on the slopes.
You can draw from other experiences where you had to think fast, solve a problem, or handle conflict.
It's all about showing you can act decisively when safety's on the line. And, of course, RoleCatcher's AI can help refine your story to really make it shine.
For sure. All right, that wraps up part 1 of our deep dive into becoming a snowboard instructor.
We've hit some serious terrain today.
We have.
Decoded job descriptions, tackled tough questions, and even brought in the power of AI to help us craft amazing answers.
Exactly. Now you're ready to show those potential employers what you're made of.
So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll explore how RoleCatcher's AI can really supercharge your interview prep.
Welcome back, Powderhounds. Ready for part 2 of our snowboard instructor interview prep.
Let's do it. In part 1, we tackled those tough interview questions.
Now it's time to level up our game.
Oh yeah? With what?
We're bringing in the big guns. AI.
Whoa, sounds intense.
It's actually super helpful. We're going to explore how RoleCatcher's AI-powered features can help you refine those answers and become the ultimate candidate.
Okay, so we talked about how RoleCatcher analyzes job descriptions to help tailor your responses. But how does that work exactly? Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say you're applying to a resort that's all about teaching kids. RoleCatcher's AI would scan that job description, picking up on keywords like patience, child development, and creative teaching methods.
I see. So instead of just giving a general answer about my teaching experience,
You'd zero in on those specific skills the employer wants.
okay, so how would that sound?
You could share a story about successfully teaching a tricky concept to a young learner. Or talk about your experience creating fun games and activities to keep kids engaged.
Makes sense. It's like RoleCatcher's giving you a cheat sheet for what the employer is really looking for.
Exactly. But it's not just about keywords. RoleCatcher also gives you feedback on the content and structure of your answers.
Really? So it's kind of like,
Having a virtual interview coach reviewing every single word.
cool. What kind of feedback would it give?
It might suggest making a sentence more concise, or adding specific examples to make your points hit harder. It can even help you sound more confident and enthusiastic.
Wow, that's awesome. It's like having a personalized editor for your interview responses.
Exactly. And you can practice as many times as you need, record your answers, get instant feedback, and keep refining until you're feeling super confident.
Okay, let's talk features. What are some that are especially helpful for snowboard instructor hopefuls?
Well, the Tailor with AI feature for CVs and cover letters is a game changer.
Tailor with AI. What's that all about?
It makes sure your application materials are totally in sync with each job you apply for.
Okay, so it's not just swapping out the company name and job title.
Nope. It's about going deeper, analyzing the job description and suggesting specific changes to make your CV and cover letter really stand out.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say a resort is looking for instructors with avalanche safety training. RoleCatcher might suggest making that certification really prominent on your CV.
I get it. And if they want someone with experience working with adaptive athletes?
RoleCatcher might say to add a section in your cover letter talking about your experience in that area. It's all about showing the employer that you've got exactly what they're looking for.
That's so smart. It takes all the guesswork out of applying.
Yeah.
But what about those tricky application questions some employers ask? Like, describe your teaching philosophy, or why are you the best fit for this role?
Don't worry, RoleCatcher has your back. The Optimize with AI feature is made for those open-ended questions.
How does that one work?
It analyzes the question and gives you tailored suggestions for crafting awesome, insightful answers.
It's like having a brainstorming buddy.
Yeah, exactly. It might suggest drawing on specific stories from your teaching experience, highlighting your unique strengths, or even structuring your answer so it's super clear for the employer.
Love it. So you've aced the application, landed the interview. Can RoleCatcher help you prep for the actual interview too?
Absolutely. The Enhance with AI feature for interview questions is like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
No way.
It gives you a huge library of practice questions specifically for snowboard instructor roles, plus personalized guidance on how to answer them.
So it's like,
Having a snowboarding expert whisper tips in your ear during the interview.
that's incredible. What kind of tips?
It might suggest using the STAR method to tell a compelling story, or incorporating specific examples to illustrate your teaching style, even adjusting your body language to create a more positive vibe.
Wow, that's next level stuff. Speaking of next level, what about the Prepare with AI feature for interview practice?
Oh, this one's amazing. You record your answers to practice questions and get instant feedback from the AI. It's like having a virtual mirror that shows you exactly how you come across in an interview.
So it analyzes everything.
Your delivery, tone of voice, even your facial expressions.
No way. So it gives you tips on.
Pacing, clarity, body language, eye contact, everything.
It's like having a personal stylist for your interview persona.
Exactly. You know, while we're on the topic of personalizing your approach, there's a section in the career guide I think is super valuable for snowboard instructors, career stages.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It outlines the typical progression, right? From entry level all the way up to the top.
Exactly. It helps you understand the different certification levels, the skills you need for each stage, and the potential career paths you can follow.
So it's like a roadmap for your snowboarding career. And that info can be really helpful in an interview.
Totally. It shows you understand the industry, you're committed to professional development, and you've got long-term goals. You could say something like, I'm excited about the growth potential in this role. I've been checking out the different career stages for snowboard instructors, and I'm eager to keep learning and eventually get my level 3 certification.
That's a great way to show you're serious about this career.
Right. And speaking of exploring your options, the alternative titles section in the career guide is super helpful too.
Oh yeah, that one lists jobs similar to snowboard instructor, but with slightly different focuses, right?
You got it. So if you're not finding snowboard instructor jobs, you can widen your search. Look for things like ski instructor, winter sports instructor, or even outdoor recreation leader.
That's a good idea. Keep those options open. And RoleCatcher makes it easy to check out those related careers, right?
Totally. It links to their career and interview guides. Plus, you can use the AI to quickly tailor your materials and see how your experience matches up.
Awesome. And don't forget about the related careers section.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. It lists careers that might not be snowboarding instruction directly, but use similar skills and experience.
Perfect for exploring other options in the sports and recreation world. So basically, RoleCatcher gives you everything you need to navigate the job search like a pro.
Absolutely. Whether you're a seasoned instructor or just starting out, RoleCatcher can help you land that dream job on the slopes.
All right, deep divers, welcome back for the final run of our Snowboard Instructor Interview Prep series. We've decoded job descriptions, tackled tough questions, and even used the power of AI.
We've got the knowledge and tools now, but an interview is about more than just perfect answers.
True.
It's about your personality, your passion, your love for sharing snowboarding with others.
Right, like showing them you're not just an instructor, but a true snowboarding evangelist.
Exactly. But before we get there, let's talk about some practical things, like first impressions. How can we nail that from the moment we walk in?
Yeah, what about that?
First things first, be on time. It shows respect and that you're professional.
Makes sense.
And speaking of professionalism, let's talk clothes. We're applying for a job on the slopes, but we don't want to show up in full gear.
Yeah, what's the right balance?
Think professional, but with a snowboarding vibe. Nice pants or khakis, a collared shirt or sweater, clean shoes.
Like you're saying, I'm ready to shred, but I also respect this opportunity.
Exactly. And don't forget a genuine smile and a firm handshake. Those little things go a long way.
Okay, so first impressions are covered. But what about when we get hit with a question that throws us off?
It happens to everyone. Don't panic. Take a deep breath and buy yourself some time.
Good point.
You can say, that's a great question. Let me think about that for a moment.
Much better than stumbling through an answer that doesn't make sense.
Right. And if you need something clarified, just ask. Or if you straight up don't know the answer,
What should you do?
it's okay to admit it. Just say, I'm not familiar with that specific technique, but I'm eager to learn more. Shows you're open to growing and expanding your knowledge.
Great tip. Now, let's talk about the question that everyone dreads.
Salary.
Yeah, how do you handle that one?
Best to deflect it at first. Focus on your value. Say something like, I'm super excited about this opportunity and I know I can contribute a lot to your team. I'm happy to discuss salary expectations once we've talked more about the role.
So it's about showing them you're passionate about the opportunity itself, not just the money.
Exactly. It also gives you time to do some research on typical salaries. Websites like Glassdoor can help with that.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's talk about asking questions. Why is that so important for us as candidates?
Asking questions shows you're engaged, curious, and genuinely interested. It also helps you figure out if this job is the right fit for you.
So what are some good questions to ask?
You could ask about professional development opportunities, team culture, student-to-instructor ratios, maybe even their sustainability efforts. Yeah. It shows you're thinking beyond the basics.
Don't forget to ask about next steps in the hiring process.
Absolutely. It's good to know what to expect. Well, folks, we've reached the top of our interview prep mountain. We covered everything from first impressions to tricky questions, salary, and even asking insightful questions. Now you've got what it takes to crush those interviews.
Go out there, embrace the challenge, and show them why you're the snowboarding guru they've been waiting for.
And remember, be yourself, let your passion shine, and have fun. That's what snowboarding is all about.
That's it for our deep dive into snowboard instructor interviews. We hope you're feeling pumped and ready to shred those slopes of opportunity.
And hey, whether you land your dream job on the first try or it takes a few attempts, the journey itself is an amazing learning experience.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those stoke levels high. We'll see you on the next deep dive.